हरि ओम। ओ ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शङ्करो वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धेर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। So Bhagwan tells Arjuna that through my para and apara prakriti, I manifest as this world. So there is no one other than me, and there is nothing other than me. Everything and everyone is my own self. I am present in this entire creation, in my nature. So one has to recognize the presence of Ishvara in all the elements and in all the other expressions of this world. Bhagwan alone is present. Bhagwan says, Echeva sattvika bhavaha rajasas tamasaschaye matta eveti tan viddhi, that all that is born from sattvagun, rajogun or tamogun, understand that they are ultimately born from me only, because these gunas of Maya, they are not different from me. So matta eveti tan viddhi, na tu aham teshu te mayi, but I am not in them, they are in me. I am not in the karya, in the effect. The effect is, in the effect the cause is hidden, and in the cause the effect is not there. So Bhagavan says that those who get deluded by this effect, those who get totally deluded by the three gunas, tribhir gunamayer bhavaihi ebi sarvamidam mohitam, the entire world, all beings are deluded by these three gunas and they don't recognize me. Na abhijanati mam, ebhya param avyayam, that I am beyond these gunas, I am supreme, I am free from all modification, they don't recognize me. So this is Bhagwan's Prakriti, is also called Maya. We chanted this beautiful shloka yesterday. We will chant it again today. Verse number 14. Daivi yesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante mayam yetam taranti te. Bhagavan says, this is my Maya, Daivi, it's divine. He Isha, it is Pratyaksha. We can see the effect of this Maya. Gunamayi, it has got three gunas, Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun. Mama Maya, Bhagavan says, this is my Maya, Duratyaya. Duratyaya means very difficult to cross, very difficult to transcend, very difficult to overlook. But one who is able to overlook, one who is able to transcend, one who surrenders to me alone will be able to transcend this Maya. Mame vaye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Now see, this I had told you before also. This Maya is Bhagwan's Shakti, and Maya is different from Avidya. This Avidya belongs to us, Jiva. See, we are in this world from beginningless time. We are also called Purusha. And this our body, and this world is called Prakriti. So this Purusha and Prakriti are Anadi. Means we are always in this world in some form or other from beginningless time. Though I am not different from that Brahma, my nature and Brahma nature is same, means I am totally one with Brahma. But because of this avidya, I feel that I am different from Brahma. And this world also appears different from Brahma. Though the nature of the world is different, but essentially the world is one with Brahma. So that I who is present in this world from beginningless time, I don't know myself that I am that Brahma. This ignorance is called avidya. This ignorance is experience in my waking and dream state. This ignorance is absence of this knowledge in my buddhi. Because of this ignorance, I have misunderstanding about myself. I have misunderstanding about the world. I have misunderstanding about Ishvara. So this is avidya. Avidya binds me to this samsara. Because of avidya, I have desires. And I seek fulfillment of my desires. I am restless if my desires are not fulfilled. So but I cannot fulfill these desires by myself. I need some field, need some avenue to fulfill my desires. So in order to fulfill my desires, help me to fulfill my desires, Bhagwan creates this world through his Maya. It's like at home, the children are there and they want to eat, but they themselves cannot cook. So the mother cooks food for them, each according to their own liking and all, different type of food the mother cooks. Similarly, the Bhagwan as our mother, he presents this world so that we can fulfill our desires. But our ultimate desire is to attain moksha. So once we attain moksha, we transcend this world, become one with Ishvara. So that Maya of Ishvara is Bhagwan Shakti. Maya is Trigunatmika, Sattva Gun, Rajogun and Tamogun. There is no trace of avidya in Maya. Maya is not total avidya of everyone. It is not like that. There is no trace of avidya in Maya. Therefore, Bhagwan is not avidya yukta. There is no avidya in Bhagwan. This avidya of the jivas is an absence. So that absence is not there in Bhagwan. But because of this, there are desires in all the jivas, and in order to fulfill those desires, Bhagwan creates this world. So this Maya has got these three gunas, Sattva Gun, Rajogun, Tamogun. Sattva Gun is of the nature of light. Means Sattva Gun expresses knowledge. Rajogun is of the nature of activity, restlessness. Rajogun expresses restlessness. And Tamogun is of the nature of darkness. It expresses darkness. Tamogun is not ignorance, not avidya. A person who is ignorant will remain ignorant in Tamogun also, Rajogun also, and Sattvagun also. Darkness is different. Suppose in a room some objects are kept, you can see them. But if the room becomes dark, you can't see those objects. So this darkness is Tamogun, activity is Rajogun, restlessness is Rajogun, and that knowledge, brilliance is Sattvagun. And the combination of and permutation of these three gunas expresses as this world. So in our mind also, antakarana also, these three gunas are there. Even our desires are of trigunatmika. They are rajasic, tamasic, sattvic. And later on Bhagavan will tell, as we invoke more and more sattva gun, it helps us to understand the scriptures, it helps us to meditate, it helps us to become one, experience God. So sattva gun helps us. Rajogun and tamogun bind us, keep us bound to this world. So these three gunas, they have to be understood properly, and then they have to be transcended by surrendering to Ishvara. So Bhagavan says these three gunas, Maya is Daivi, is divine. It is not something bad, not something unholy, not something which we should curse or say something bad about it. It is Daivi, divine. Bhagavan Shakti. So criticizing and cursing and talking ill about Maya is like talking ill about Bhagavan only. So Bhagavan says Daivi. And this, though the three Maya is not seen directly, but the effect of Maya is seen. Maya is one with Ishvara, cannot be seen, but the expression of this Maya as this world we can see, and through the expression we can guess the gunas also. So this sattva gun, rajogun, tamogun is seen expressing in the objects, in human beings, animal, birds, plants, everywhere. So Maya is pratyaksha, we can see. So Daivi hi esha gunamayi mama Maya duratyaya. But Maya is very difficult to transcend, very difficult to cross. See, for example, the sun, bright and brilliant. What is the shape of the sun? When we see in the morning, when the sun rises, or when it sets, we see the beautiful circular shape of the sun. But when it is up on the at noon, up in the sky, shining brightly, at that time when we try to see the shape of the sun, or even if we want to look at the sun, even for a fraction of a second, it becomes very difficult. Why it becomes difficult to look at the sun? Because of the light and the brilliance. But what is this light and brilliance? It is the power of the sun. The power of the sun prevents us from looking at the sun. Therefore, in Ishavasya Upanishad, there is a beautiful mantra wherein we address Ishvara, we address him as the sun, and we request Ishvara that I want to have your darshan, so please withdraw your brilliance so that I can see you, I can comprehend you. Your brilliance alone is preventing me from seeing you. It's very strange. Similarly, this Maya is like the brilliance of the sun prevents us from comprehending the true nature of Ishvara and recognizing our oneness with Ishvara. And it is not very easy to shift our attention away from this Maya, because it's very, very attractive. These three gunas. See, and all of us, we experience it. For example, when we are overpowered by tamogun, for example, when the tamogun strikes us, attacks us, it can happen anytime. It happens during pravachan also. So I get overpowered by tamogun, means inertia, laziness, sleepiness, lack of energy, a lack of motivation, lack of inspiration. All these things come. And I get very strongly attracted towards the qualities, expression of tamogun, like sleep, forgetfulness, laziness. Very difficult to overcome. See, even if we try, we cannot keep ourselves awake for long. Maybe 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. How many days can you keep yourself awake? The sleep will pull us. Even when we say, I love some person very much, we are there to take care of that person. The person is not well, so we keep awake. But when we just doze off, we also don't realize it. So tamogun, very powerful. But what about rajogun? Rajogun is also equally powerful. When the rajogun is at the height, it creates so much of restlessness. All the desires, they pop up in our heart. The anger, the jealousies, the greed. Kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samudbhavaha. And when this type of emotions they come, to suppress them or to control them or to neglect them or to overpower them is not easy, very difficult. Even great people, sometimes in their life, we see that even they fall prey to these strong rajasic tendencies. Anger comes, it goes out of control. Jealousies come, it goes out of control. So pride, jealousy, anger, greed, all these are expression of rajogun only. Very strong. We can't neglect and pay attention to the Supreme Ishvara when the rajogun is active. But what about sattvagun? Even sattvagun, if it is not handled properly, is binding only. Sattvagun makes us happy. Sattvagun gives that happiness and gives us that alertness of our body, our mind, our senses and all. So one tends to get attached to sattvagun. Sattvagun binds us by giving us lollipop-like, giving us little joys and peace and some tranquility, and one gets attached to that. But Ishvara is beyond this sattvagun. But we hold on to this sattvagun and don't want to pay attention to Ishvara. So sattvagun is also binding. Rajogun is also binding and tamogun is also binding. And all these three gunas are there all the time. Their only difference is only in their proportion. All these three gunas, they keep expressing in our antakarana all the time. So if they are so strong and so powerful, it becomes very difficult to transcend them, to shift our attention away from them and look at Ishvara. Only one who gains that proper understanding, knowledge, only one who gains that complete vairagya, and one who has this total faith in Ishvara is able to shift that attention from this Maya and surrender to that Ishvara. Okay? Otherwise, to shift our attention is very difficult, and we are in a habit. We have formed habit from beginningless time to indulge in this world, this Mayic world. Okay? Okay, now I will, to make you understand, let us do one small experiment. Simple experiment. I will show you one color. You have to just tell me what is the color. Like this. What is the color? You can see. Very simple. What color I showed you? This is the trial. I will show you some more. Okay, very good. Now, I will show you in the paper, I will show you 4 colors. You have to name those colors. Okay? Okay, don't go into technical details. It's just consider it as red only. Okay. Now, I will show you 4 colors. And for a short time, I will show you the colors. You have to name those 4 colors. Okay? Ready? You have to just name the colors. I am showing you 4 colors. You just name those colors. Don't go into shades and all. If it is looks like red, you can say red. 4 colors I will show. You just have to name the colors. Okay? Here. Okay. Now name the colors. I have shown you 4 colors. You tell what colors did you see? Very good. Very good. Most of you have picked it up nicely. See, these are the 4 colors. Red, green, blue, and black. But generally what happens when we look at this color, our attention goes on what is written. Out of habit, we look at what is written, and we tend to pay attention to that. Suppose the same 4 colors are shown just like plain lines, then it is not very difficult to see those colors. But when we see something is written. So this is actually red color, but written, I have written blue. The word blue is written there. Then the word black is written here, word brown is written, orange is written, but the background colors are different. So when we have this habit of reading, we have just learnt in our childhood how to read, and then it goes into our head, it forms a strong habit. So when we look at that object or this writing, immediately we read it. It is just like our unconscious, subconscious response. We just read it. But here I am not telling you to read, but to observe the color, which becomes little bit more difficult. Now, in the same way, the world which is seen in front of us have different colors, different shapes, and behind all this everything is that Ishvara, which is common everywhere. Ishvara is commonly present everywhere. But the expressions are different. So we tend to focus our attention on the expression rather than on the Ishvara. This has become a habit. So through our sadhana, we should learn to overcome this habit and try to see the presence of Ishvara. Then only we will be able to surrender to Ishvara. Here Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji, he writes in his commentary that mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam taranti te. On this he writes ki tatra evam sati. Since the maya is very difficult to transcend, tatra evam sati sarva dharman parityajya माम एव माया विनम स्वात्म भूतम सर्वात्मना ये प्रपद्यन्ते ते मायाम एताम सर्वभूत मोहिनीम तरन्ति अतिक्रामन्ति संसार बंधनात् मुच्यन्ते इत्यर्थः. Bhagavan says, since this maya is very difficult to transcend, only one who pays attention to Ishvara, means Ishvara's supreme nature, and one surrenders to this Ishvara, such a person alone will be able to transcend this maya. But for that, what we have to do in order to surrender? Here Shankaracharya ji quotes the shloka which will come in the 18th chapter, the famous shloka, where Bhagavan finally tells Arjuna कि सर्वधर्मान परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. There Bhagavan tells Arjuna that you drop all dharma, sarvadharman parityajya, and surrender to me. Mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhya mokshayishyami. I will release you from all your sins and give you moksha. I will free you from all your sin. Don't be afraid. Don't be sad. Just surrender to me. So what does it mean, giving up all dharma? Is it that we have to drop all dharma, means become adharmic or something? What does it mean, giving up all dharma? See, there are these two objects which we have seen, which we experience. One, we experience ourselves, aham, and another, we experience this body and this world as idam. So that aham is also called kshetrajna, means the knower of this world. And the world is called Kshetra. So Kshetrajna and Kshetra means Aham and Idam, seer and seen. Okay. So the body, mind, intellect and this world are all seen. They are objects. And these objects have their own dharma. They have their own intrinsic nature. See, for example, the different electrical equipments which we have, those equipments have their own nature. For example, a fan. When it comes in contact with electricity, what does the fan do? It keeps on rotating. It keeps on rotating. Why it rotates? Because it is the very nature of that fan. It is made in such a way that it rotates. But even to rotate, it requires the contact with electricity. Then we have let us say a heater. In winter we use our heaters. So what is the nature of heater? To give heat. When it comes in contact with electricity, that equipment gives heat. Then we have our refrigerator. When it comes in contact with electricity, it cools. Now see, electricity has got its own uniform nature. But the nature of fan is different, the nature of heater is different, the nature of refrigerator is different. They express according to their nature. But electricity is same. So if I am electricity, I am same. So when a fan touches me, the fan moves, but I am same. My nature doesn't change whether the fan is moving or not moving. Ki farak penda. Whether the fan is moving or not moving, I, the electricity, remain same. I, the electricity, remain same even when the heater heats up or when the refrigerator cools. I remain same. But if I identify with the fan, then I will say, oh, I am moving. If I identify with the heater, I will say, oh, I am getting hot. I am getting heated up. If I identify with the refrigerator, I will say I have become cool. But if I just shift my attention from all of them, then I am that pure electricity. If this is understood, then here I, the Kshetrajna, is like that electricity. And this mind, intellect and all this are like the equipments. They have their own nature. They will just function according to their nature only. So buddhi will function in the same way, the mind will function in its own way, the body will function in its own way, and it will keep on acting according to its nature. Though it happens in my presence, but there is no involvement, my involvement is not there. Like Bhagavan had said before, that even when all the activities are happening, the wise person knows that naiva kinchit karomi iti, I am not doing anything. The eyes are seeing, the ears are hearing, the nose is smelling, but I am not doing anything. They are just doing it according to their own nature. But now, because of ignorance, I am holding on to this nature. That nature is called dharma. So the kshetra dharma, even our waking, dream and deep sleep is kshetra dharma, is the nature of the objects. When the mind is awake, we say I am awake. When the mind withdraws, all the senses get withdrawn and the mind just imagine things, we say I am dreaming. When the mind, antakarana, goes into avyakta, then I say I am asleep. But really speaking, I don't change. This waking, dream and deep sleep are states of the mind, not my state. I am always as I am. Whether the mind is awake or sleeping or dreaming, who cares? Ki farak penda. I remain same. But I will understand that I am same if I drop my identification with the dharma of this body, mind, intellect. So that is what is called surrendering. Surrendering is not easy, because in surrender you have to drop all this dharma of the body, mind, senses and all. The body is walking, but I am not walking. The senses are seeing, but I am not seeing. The mind is thinking, but I am not thinking. I, the self, is untouched by the equipments. See, when you are in deep sleep, you are totally untouched by the body, the mind, the senses. Your existence doesn't depend on the existence of these objects. The existence of the self doesn't depend on the existence of the object. The existence of the electricity doesn't depend on the existence of the fan or the bulb or the refrigerator. So drop the dharma of this body, mind, intellect and surrender to that Supreme Self. That is called prapatti, that is called sharanagati. Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Say again, little bit more thinking. Like we say that Bhagavan is present in this world, that Brahma, when I say Bhagavan, is Brahma. That Brahma is present in this world as the very existence. Therefore, everything we experience in this world is experienced along with Brahma. Like we say, this object or this object, we say it is existing. Everything we experience in this world is experienced as existing. We say this is, tree is, the mountain is, the building is, the river is, the person is. So the experience of every object is associated with the experience of is. Without the experience of is, there is no experience of any object. Even if we have to experience ghost, the ghost is experienced as is. Ghost is. So this is Paramatma only, that Brahma, who is present in every experience. Now see, little bit subtle point. So when we experience everything, let us say we see an object It has got some color, some form. Let us say we see a rose, a red rose, beautiful red rose. Nice color, nice form, nice fragrance. We say the rose is. So where is the object? We say it is right in front of me. Where is the color? The color is in that object. Where is the form? The form is in that object. That object is experienced as is, existing. Where is that existence? Generally we feel the existence is there in the object. But really speaking, I exist. I experience my own existence. I am. My own experience of my own existence alone is experience as is in this world. What I experience as though it is outside is really my own self. In Sat Darshanam, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi has, in the first shloka itself, has revealed a very profound truth. Sat pratyaya kinnu vihaya santam riddesha chinta rahito ridakhyah katham smaramastamameyamekam tasya smritistatra dridheva nishtha. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says that we have Sat Pratyaya when we observe this world. In everything there is a Sat Pratyaya, means the thought of is. But this thought of is cannot be without that Brahma which is of the nature of that is, which is pure existence. But that is, that existence is experienced in myself as am. I am. So what I think is outside as is really my own self. The existence of my own self is experienced. So drop all that notion that the world is outside, something is outside, but understand that everything is in your own self. That is what is called surrendering to our own self. Means merging the whole world in our own self. Self means that Paramatma. Surrendering everything to that Paramatma. Dissolving everything in Paramatma. Again, another example, like in our dream. We see a beautiful world in our dream. I meet my friend in my dream. We are going for a walk out in nature, climbing some mountain and all. So we look at the beautiful nature around. We say, oh, look at that beautiful mountain, look at those trees, look at those birds. So we show the whole world to each other with our hand outside. Hey, look. So the world is experienced as though outside. But when I wake up from my dream, I suddenly come to realize the world which was experienced as outside is actually was within me only. So that existence is my own existence, which was seen as though it is outside in the world. My own existence is seen as though it is outside. So drop the dharma of the world as it is seen and surrender to Ishvara. And drop the dharma of this self which you are seeing in your body, mind, intellect, and surrender to the Ishvara. This is what is meant by the term surrender. So Bhagavan says, he who surrenders to me, that person, those people alone will be able to transcend his Maya. Otherwise, difficult. So to achieve this surrender alone, we have to do all this sadhana. We cannot say, I will follow the path of surrender. No. You have to go through Karma Yoga, Chitta Shuddhi, Jnana Prapti, Karma Sannyas, Dhyana. This surrender happens in Dhyana. So Nididhyasan, Dhyana, surrender, Parama Bhakti, Param Jnana, they are all same. Sant Jnaneshwar Maharaj gives a very beautiful example of Sharanagati. He says you can learn Sharanagati from the waves. And you can learn Sharanagati from the ornaments. How can I learn from the waves and ornaments? He says you surrender to Ishvara just as the waves surrender to the ocean, or as the ornaments surrender to gold. Just as the ornaments surrender to gold, you surrender to Ishvara. Ishvara is like the gold, and you are now identifying with the ornaments. So drop that identification and surrender to that Ishvara. So Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam taranti te. But there are certain things which prevents us from surrendering to Ishvara. Some blockage, some obstacles. If we are able to remove those obstacles, we will be able to surrender. So Bhagavan reveals some 5 obstacles. If you remove those 5, you will be able to surrender. But even if one of them is there, then we will not be able to surrender. So what are those 5 which prevents us from surrendering? That Bhagavan now reveals in the next verse. Let us chant that verse. But detail we will see in the next class. But now let us chant and briefly see the meaning. Namam dushkritino mudhaha prapadyante naradhamaha mayaya paratatjnanaha asuram bhavamashritaha. Bhagavan says these 4 types of people, or those who have these 4 types of bad qualities, such people, they don't surrender to me. they cannot surrender to me. They don't surrender to me. Namam dushkritina mudaha prapadyante. Namam prapadyante. They don't surrender to me. Who are those people? Says first, dushkrutinaha. Those who are dushkruti means those who do bad things. Those who are doers of wrong, bad, sinful actions. दुष्ट कृति, दुष्कर्म जो करने वाले हैं, bad actions, निषिद्ध कर्म, giving पीड़ा to others and all, पर पीड़ा. So dushkrutinaha, they can't surrender to Ishvara. It doesn't happen. All the conditions doesn't get fulfilled. Therefore, by following the path of adharma throughout the day, and then we sit and meditate and try to surrender to Bhagavan, it will not happen. Dushkrutinaha namam prapadyante. That is one. More on this we will contemplate next time, but one. Then mudhaha. Mudha means deluded. Those who are confused regarding themselves, regarding this world, regarding Ishvara. These three things. Confused regarding my own identity. मैं कौन हूँ, कुछ पता नहीं. Confused regarding this world, exactly what is the nature of this world. World is there, world is not there, world is sat, world is asat, world is mithya, world is illusion, world is shunya, world is divine, world is not divine. Confusion regarding the world. And confusion regarding Ishvara. God is there, God is not there, God is mithya, God is real, God is ignorant, God is temporary, God is up there, God is everywhere, God is good, God is bad. So confusion regarding Ishvara, mood. So such type of delusion, confusion, if we have, we cannot surrender. Because we will not be single pointed, we will not have confidence. We don't know. While surrendering, we will have the doubt whether God really is there. So mudhaha. Then naradhamaha. Naradhama means nara adhamaha, means worst among humans. Means one who doesn't have any humane quality, behaves non-humanly. Naradhama. There are certain manav dharma which makes us manav. Those manu dharma or manav dharma alone makes us manav, human beings. So basic goodness is our very nature of a human being. See, just like we say about animal, bird, plant, they have their basic tendencies, basic nature. If you look at them and know their nature, you know how they will behave. If you see a tiger, if you see a wolf, if you see the wild animals, if you see a tame animal, you see a cow, you see a dog, or you see a different breeds of dog, you know how they will behave. That is their nature. Similarly, a human being has got its inbuilt nature to be kind, to be compassionate towards other beings, to be humane. But those who fall down on the, though being human in body, they behave very badly. Naradhamaha Mayaya apahritat jnanaha. Then those whose knowledge is taken away by Maya, means those who are thoroughly become totally ignorant due to the attraction of this Maya, means due to this Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamagun, they get thoroughly all their knowledge as though is taken away, is kidnapped. Mayaya apahritat jnanaha. And fifth, asuram bhavam ashritaha. Those who rely on asuri sampatti, means rakshasi, asuri qualities of anger, of hatred, of violence, of troubling others. They rely on such qualities. So these 5 types of people, or those who have these 5 types of bad qualities, or even if we have one of them, we will not be able to surrender to Ishvara. So we have to recognize these qualities if they are there within us and try to drop them. Then we will be able to surrender. More about this we will see in our next class. See, tomorrow is a very important event which is happening in our country. Bhagwan Sri Ramchandraji's temple will be the foundation stone, the foundation brick of the grand temple which will come up, will be laid tomorrow on this Abhijit Nakshatra Muhurta. See, this Abhijit Muhurta is the same Muhurta when Bhagwan Ramchandraji was born. Naumi Tithi Madhumas Punita Shukala Pacha Abhijit Hari Prita. Abhijit Nakshatra is very dear to Sri Ram. And that Abhijit Nakshatra comes in the afternoon. Means if the sunrise is at one particular time and sunset, then you take the midpoint, and that is the Abhijit Nakshatra. If the sunrise and sunset is same time, then the Abhijit Nakshatra will be at 12 o'clock. But if it is the sunrise and sunset is slightly in different times, like at present the sunrise is 5:28, sunset is 6 something. So the Abhijit Nakshatra, so it comes somewhere in the afternoon, 12:15 or something in Ayodhya. So that is the time of our class also, and this program will be shown live. So many of you would like to watch it and pray to Bhagwan. So tomorrow we will not have this class, but we will meet at 10 o'clock for short time, 10 a.m. before the Muhurta, and we will chant Bhagwan's name, sing some bhajans, and pray. Pray for Bhagwan to manifest and bless all of us. So this we will do. So this class we will have continue day after tomorrow. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. morning, we will just meet, maybe for half an hour or maybe 1 hour, maximum 1 hour. we will meet, and thereafter you can see this program on television. Okay? So till that time, you take care, be safe, happy, peaceful, healthy, do your work, pray, and we will meet tomorrow at 10. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम.